Okay, so this is my notebook for the physics section. And so here we go. We've got our pocket of goodies. And we go over here to our table of contents. And I actually ended up doing 2 notebooks. So this is the start of my physics section and it finishes this book. But I will be sure to go through and show you the other book. Okay, let's go back here. So here is my physics title page. We have the motion and laws of motion notes. And here is our first foldable with vector versus scalar. Got all of my items labeled, color-coded, and everything explained. We have more notes. We then have acceleration versus deceleration. Those are also color-coded as well. And they are also explained in definition. Notes. Okay, we have the forces of nature foldable. Gravitational forces, strong nuclear force, weak nuclear force, and electromagnetic forces. Got all of those. More notes. Then we have our types of motion. And we'll start with the circular. So I have got all of the appropriate note cards for the circular. And then oscillation. And also I have got the meaning of each on the top here. And I also have the correct ones for that as well. Projectile. Okay, and then we've got linear. Okay, so we've got all of those. And I've got more notes. And I believe this actually finishes off this book. So I ended up having to get a second book, which I also called, filled it in, had a pocket of goodies, called this one Volume 2. I just continued with my page numbers. Here is my table of contents for the rest of this section. I go all the way over here, and then I actually have more space, but I just drew a line just knowing that that was the end. Then we start Newton's law of our notes, and then here we have Newton's law of motion. So I'm going to start here. We've got our more information, got a picture, and the biography, and then we got the law, picture, and then we've got an example. In our second law of motion, we have the law, as well as a picture and an example. Our third law, we have here, and then we've got our picture and then an example. that goes through that whole entire foldable. Next, we have more notes. More notes. Then we're moving on to work energy and the work energy relationship. So we have our energy foldable that gives the definition. Then we have our seeing melts. And we have our little pictures and also what each of them represent. So, forms of energy, seeing melts, how energy is manifested. So with that foldable, start our notes. Here we have our work foldable. Move that up and move it back down. Okay. Next we have our types of mechanical energy, which we also have, it's all color coded. And we have our information, more notes. And then here we have the conservation of mechanical energy, our roller coaster foldable. So we have this labeled here, as well as all of our information. More notes. Now we move on to our momentum, impulse, and power section. Here is the momentum foldable. You see here we have the definition. Open up. And we have all of our explanations here. Okay. That does that foldable. Now we're going to move on to impulse. So we have the definition. And then we go on to the back with the formula. Okay, we're moving on to circular motion and gravitational forces. First foldable in this section, centripetal acceleration and centripetal force. Let's start here. Here's a diagram. And then we move on to the back. Same thing with force. Okay. Here is my pocket for my index card to use for the exam and also just to have. Here we have Newton's law of gravitation. And all of its information. We have more notes, and again more notes, and now we move on to electricity. Our first foldable is the AC versus DC Venn diagram. We have it all color-coded here, and all of its information. This is my required foldable, which I explained earlier in my second video, or my other video. So I'll just flash it real quick. Here it is. There we go. All right. Here we have the Ohm's Law foldable with all of the information, as well as the explanation underneath. Okay. Next, I'm going to keep going through notes. Then we have open and closed circuits. As you can see, everything's properly color coded. We don't have the color in this one because it is open and not closed. And then we have our information about each and what they do. Moving on, more notes. Here we have the power foldable. Got the definition, and then also the explanation of each. Here we have the elements of circuits. So we've got our pictures. To explain all of it, as well as it is color coded. As well as our information at the top. Okay, more notes. Here is the series circuit and parallel circuit. So we have our drawing that is colored, definition of series circuit, as well as our drawing that is colored, and parallel circuits. Our final notes. Now we have magnetism. This is our magnet foldable. Our magnet foldable. There's our definition and what sticks to a magnet. Our title, and then also what are magnetic poles. We answer that question at the top, and then down bottom what happens when magnetic poles are brought together. And then we talk about what like poles are brought together and when opposite poles are brought together. Alright, continue with our magnetism notes. This is my extra credit foldable that I've already made a video for, but I will show you briefly.